So where are we now? As I look down at the body of punk rock, I wonder whether there is indeed life in the old dog yet, or whether it's time to bury our losses and move on to the future. Let's give it one last try, shall we? Clear. No, he's dead. Isn't it funny the way he does that? Most things in life that start out cool and fun tend to outstay their welcome. Ben Elton and Rod Stewart spring immediately to my mind, and so, of course, it was with punk. What began as a genuine counterculture was soon absorbed and processed and sold on, and although I suppose it was inevitable, it still upsets me a little bit. But then again, if you're not lucky enough or stupid enough to die young and good-looking, how are you going to keep the faith? Please, God, not like this.
1, 2, 3, 4! Free your mind and your ass will follow.
A healthy body is a healthy mind. Like, who cares how you look? Just do it.
Sometimes you've used the word almost like obsessive.
As if there was a punk angler from 1976 who still has me on the end of his hook and he's trying to reel me back in.
Yeah.
But sadly, the laws of physics being such that we can't actually find a way back there, which would be great if we could. Although obviously I'd like to lose a couple of pounds on the way as well, so I still fit into the same trousers.
You can't really be a 45-year-old punk rocker with a spiky hair and kind of, can you really? I mean, you can't.
If I see my little jittery, I can't shit myself. I'm falling into space, I can stand to myself, I'm gonna break down. Gonna break down, yes.
So is this what it's come to? A once proud and glorious movement served up as nostalgia for tourists, a glorious call to the youth of the nation, now no more than a middle-aged fantasy's wet dream. I ask ya, what's going on? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first ever punk rock tour of London. We will be heading right across the city here, hitting all the major points in the history of this epic movement. Feel free, of course, to heckle and shout abuse at any of the passers-by. All right, well, we have a very special surprise for you this morning on the punk rock tour of London. On the left-hand side of the bus, at the next bus stop, you will see waiting to join us from the Damned. Let's hear it for Captain Sensible and Dave Vania. Now, you were probably, let's be fair, let's be honest, you were probably the number 3 punk band, weren't you? Really? Because you got the Pistols with the number 1 band.
Yeah.
And then the Clash, they kind of pipped it, didn't they, really?
Yeah.
Now, and the Damned number 3. Ray's been very quiet here. He disagrees with my stern but fair view of history.
Well, it depends on how you're judging him, really, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I could have fucking sworn on the Grundy programme. I can fucking swear as good as the next cunt.
Yeah, but it's too late now. It's 35 years too late or something.
I could have done it with more panache and gusto than they fucking did as well.
That's absolutely true.
Wankers.
Stab your back, stab your back, stab your back, stab your back. You used to hang around on the rails, yeah. You know there was a patch. There's a brand new...
Eyes right for Poland Street. This was where Louise's club could be found. This was run by a famous London madam called Louise. It was largely a lesbian bar. Had a lady DJ, of course, Caroline, who used to play to a discerning crowd who formed by the Bromley contingent and some of the young people who formed some of the best punk bands of the mid-70s. That's Louise's club in Poland Street.
So this is a place where Susie and the Banshees were formed. We'd been sort of going to see the Pistols for about 3 or 4 months, and we just started talking about forming a band together. And really, it was Billy Idol who he could play guitar, and he was already, I think he already had a band at the university, and he was eager that we kind of got the whole thing together. And Susie was going to sing, and Billy was going to teach me to play bass, and we were just going to find a drummer.
Who's your manager? Can I have the name of your manager?
Nelly's over there.
Malcolm McLaren. Malcolm McLaren's our manager. See him.
Malcolm was talking to us about how he was doing this 100 Club Festival 2 nights and he needed a band. And Billy just chirped up and said that we had a band, even though we hadn't. And so there we were on the bill and, you know, it suddenly became a reality and we had to do something about it. This is where we met Sid and persuaded him very easily to play drums with us for 20 minutes in a shambolic version of the Lord's Prayer.
We've been there for 5 years or more just waiting for this to happen, and now it's happened.
We had grand plans to make records like The Scream, to make records that had never been made before. We wanted to be the best band in the world.
Coming up now is Neal Street. Now it was at number 41 Neal Street that a former gay club, Shagaramas, was reopened as the Roxy. Roxy was probably the most influential of all the punk clubs. All of the big bands played there. Generation X, of course, Slaughter and the Dogs, Susie and the Banshees, X-Ray Specs, Wire, Johnny Moped, just about everyone. It was the place to go.
Right, where we are at the what was the Roxy, formerly Shagaramas, and this was where we had the first proper club to put on regular punk events. I'd say, well, over here by the gaily coloured children's knickers and sort of swing costumes, like the old fuchsia and the nice green one there, that's where the likes of Slaughter and the Dogs would jump up and scob at people.
I was never a big fan of the whole gobbing idea, and to be honest with you, most of the early gigs I went to, you didn't see that much of it. Anyway, you'd see this sort of volley of gob go at the stage and people playing through it, and God knows how they managed to keep their finger on the strings even, because they were slippery. And you know what mucus is like? It's kind of clingy, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, it's slimy. Hence, my dismay when at a jam gig, someone next to me launched a big, fat, meaty oyster of mucus right onto Bruce Foxton's face. He looked down, thought it was me. He leaned right over. He glared at me. Really upset me. I'll be honest with you, because I was a fan, and I would never have spat at Bruce Foxton. You know, and then this guy next to me, he's laughing. Bruce Foxton glared right at me. It totally ruined the gig.
And over here, by the even more gaily coloured sort of frivolity, I think this is where the DJ booth was round here, I think. I think it was actually here where Don Letts used to thump out the reggae.
At the Roxy, I'd be spinning people like Iroy, Big Youth, U-Roy, Tapazuki, Prince Farai. And because of punk rock, a lot of these acts started to come to town, playing in various venues all around the place. I think the reason that reggae attracted the punks is that the popular music of the time didn't really represent where they were coming from. It wasn't their soundtrack. And we, the reggae crew, were the only sort of rebel sound around. So they kind of aligned themselves with that, in that tradition of white music gravitating towards the rebellious.
Police and thieves in the street. Oh, yeah.
I think the opening concert, the opening thing here was The Clash. They used to come here, they used to play here. And of course, their best mate, Don, who was their friend at the time, was the DJ. The bar was over here, I think. But as I said, how can you really find the geography of a former punk den amongst all swimsuits? It's a bit hard these days, I think. But I'd say the first month it was really good, and then it just petered out, I think. and now it's a Speedo shop. Yes.